But I got news for them. The veteran class is the working class, and an attack on workers is an attack on veterans. Not just in some parts of America, but all over America. Not just in some sectors, but all sectors, and not just sometimes, but each and every single time. Now, I want to move on a little bit, and I want to discuss something that's very important to everybody in this room, and it's a little bit about the new and unlikely battlefield in the war on workers and the war on veterans. And let me just say right out of the gate that the veterans who work at the VA and for the veterans who are treated at the VA, the stakes could not be any higher. So I want to talk to you about the VA, right? Just a little background. In the wake of the secret waitlist scandal, right, where VA managers were caught rigging the scheduling system, making it appear that more veterans are being treated than actually were, Congress gave some authority to the VA Secretary, Bob McDonnell, to get rid of some of those bad managers, and some resources to hire on some new staff, many of whom were veterans, to take care of the influx of new patients coming into the VA system. And you know, today the VA is seeing more patients than ever before and continuing to provide quality, integrated care that's designed specifically for veterans. Now, don't get me wrong. There are improvements to be made. There's still a lot of work to be done. But things are headed in the right direction. Things are headed in the right direction. But some people out there, you see, they want to keep that a secret. Some have used these troubles of the VA as an opportunity to chip away at basic workplace rights. Some have also used these troubles of the VA as an opportunity to make inroads into destroying and privatizing the VA. And I think everybody in this room knows that privatization is just a fancy word for saying, I'm going to let my billionaire buddies profit off the care of veterans. All this despite the fact that the RAND Corporation released a report not even 3 weeks ago saying that the VA provides equal or better care than the private sector across the board. All this despite the fact that veterans and veteran service organizations vehemently and in chorus oppose the privatization of the VA. All this despite the fact that recent bipartisan polling has shown that over 64% of veterans would categorically oppose the candidacy of any politician who supported privatizing the VA. So you're left to ask yourself, who supports this? Who supports this? Well, for one, that chicken hawk charlatan Donald Trump, he supports this. He supports this. Actually,
say it, Will.
He likes to talk about me and my fellow veterans so often. Y'all mind if I talk to y'all a little bit about Donald Trump as a veteran?
Say it, man.
Donald Trump. Here we have somebody who compares their sex life to combat in Vietnam.
Sure.
Here we have somebody who says that when young women and young men are hit by roadside bombs, they just go for a little ride in the air. Somebody who tries to degrade the service of people like Senator John McCain and other prisoners of war, calling them losers because they were captured. Somebody who attacks Gold Star families. Can we just let that sink in for a little bit? Where are we in our politics where we have a politician, in this case, the nominee for President of the United States of the Republican Party, attacking Gold Star families? People who have already sacrificed more than many can even begin to imagine. Somebody who not even 4 weeks ago stood on a stage and said, I always wanted a Purple Heart. You know, I had a friend call me about 10 minutes after Donald said that and asked me what I thought about it. And he didn't know this about me, but I'll get to that in a second. He called and said, well, you know, Donald Trump just said he always wanted a Purple Heart. What do you think about that? And I was honest with him, and I told him that the very first thing that came to mind for me was August the 19th, 2004. See, on August 19th, 2004, I was awarded a Purple Heart. And my Marine brother who got his arm blown off that day, he was awarded a Purple Heart. And my brother Marine who lost an eye that day, he was awarded a Purple Heart. And my Marine brother who was killed that day, he was awarded a Purple Heart. You see, what Donnie didn't learn in that elite military prep school is that Purple Hearts are reminders of very bad days. They're reminders of very bad days, and nobody with one ever wanted it. This is somebody who categorically wants to send more young American women and men into combat. Not his kids. Let's be crystal clear. Donnie Jr., Eric, Ivanka, they're not putting a flak jacket on anytime soon. But if the son of a bitch gets elected president, your kids will. And your kids will. And your kids will. And it's mighty bold talk coming from somebody who dodged service with the help of multiple deferments and having a rich day. But you see, this anti-veteran, anti-working class nonsense extends well beyond the race for the presidency. You see, when you hear me talk about those politicians who like to come back home and talk about how much they love veterans, how much they stand with veterans, but then when they go back to Washington, D.C., they vote against us every chance they get. You know, there's a few people who come to mind immediately. You know, there's people like Ron Johnson, people like Pat Toomey, Rob Portman, Mark Kurt, John McCain. John McCain, yeah, for real. Lindsey Graham. You see, these people, they vote against funding for veterans' education benefits. They vote against funding for veterans' job training benefits. They vote against funding for veterans' health care benefits. Now, does that sound like somebody who's pro-veteran to you? Does that sound like somebody who gives a damn about the 513,000, I think, veterans who call South Carolina home? And why? Why would someone take these anti-working class, anti-veteran positions? It's simple. Because they were told to. Because they were told to. And they have support. In fact, the Koch brothers have gone out and bought themselves their very own veteran group, the Concerned Veterans for America, their very own band of Judases, a group of folks who, and I don't hesitate in saying it for a moment, are traitors to their fellow veterans.